Today, let's talk about time, because time is a very interesting element of creation, manifestation, and spiritual expansion. Because we'll all get an idea of something we want to create, and if it doesn't show up immediately, we'll decide it's not happening, right? And the longer it takes, sort of the easier it becomes to give up on what you're creating. And particularly with things like money, we're often trying to create them under a time crunch, and it creates sort of a compression of energy where you feel like, well, I've got to make the rent by the end of the month, or I've got to make the bills before they cut the service off, or whatever it ends up being, right? And we all live in an appearance of time, right? We all have schedules. We all, operate with time in mind. We make dates with people, and we say, I'll meet you at this time, and this sort of thing. So, we're not going to try and totally bypass time and act like it doesn't exist at all, even though it is, a human construct, really. But we're not going to act like it just totally doesn't exist and we can totally disregard it and, we're just totally beyond it. We are, in terms of the infinite everything, you exist far beyond time. But right here, right now, in this earthly experience of having a human body, time is part of the experience. Time is part of the equation. So we're not going to try and, totally transcend that for the moment. Eventually, we probably will reach a point where we totally transcend time. But right now, today, we want to look at, how do I work with time in the most effective way? How do I work with time in a way that is not stressful to me? And how do I stay the course on a time frame? And how do I let myself, be okay if things don't show up when I expect them to? So, look at something that you've been trying to create. Particularly something you might have been trying to create for a long time, right? And I want you to notice if there's a sense of frustration about the time that it takes. I want you to notice if there's sort of a dam stopping up the energy, right? Like, if you're trying to create money and you're trying to create money in a hurry, is there a dam stopping up the energy? If you've been wanting to create a lot of money for a really long time and you haven't, is there a dam stopping up the energy? Not literally speaking, but get a sense of it. See if on the level of energy you can sense and have an awareness that you have not been allowing the flow. The flow is there, right? But have you been holding it back in some way that you haven't identified, right? And just allow that to dissolve. We don't need to right now get into the psychology of it. We don't need to examine it. We don't need to scrutinize it. Just let it dissolve right now. And notice you probably, at least 1%, feel a little bit better having identified, okay, somewhere I'm creating friction, somewhere I'm creating a stoppage, and if I allow that to dissolve, suddenly I feel like it's closer. Based on nothing else, based on just my choice to do that. So let's work with this and let's exponentialize this and let's make this greater. This sense of, I start thinking about time and I start amping up my frustration, and I'm look and see if you don't have timelines in place with regards to money, with regards to relationships, with regards to anything. Look and see if you don't have timelines in place. A lot of people, their payment for whatever work they do comes like clockwork on a regular basis. They get paid on, it's payday, right? And so a lot of us have a timeline that we expect money to come and that we've arranged money to come. And we don't really open ourselves up to the idea like, well, money could just come every minute. Money could come randomly at any time. Money, there's no limit to when money could show up, when I could add more money into my experience, which is what it really is, right? A lot of us talk about manifestation and we talk about money creation as if money's just going to show up from somewhere, and it's not you voluntarily choosing to add more money into your experience. So right now, choose to add more money into your experience. And notice if there's any resistance to that. And if there is, that's okay. And again, add more money into your experience. And now this is where time gets funny with us, because you add more money into your experience, you make that choice, and if it doesn't just immediately pop on the table in front of you, you go, well, where is it? And sometimes you make these choices and they don't happen in linear time that moment or right away. And that can be a source of great frustration for us. But again, right now, add more money or whatever it is you want. If you're not particularly interested in money, whatever you're interested in, add more of that into your experience. And be open to the time factor being whatever it is. Open to it being instantaneous, and open to it taking a while, even if you think you don't have a while to wait. If you thought, you know what, a couple of days of struggle and then next week I'm going to be a millionaire, you probably wouldn't be sweating this week so bad. But we often don't think that way. If something takes longer than it's supposed to, we just assume it's never going to happen. Right? But that's all timelines that we have in our head. That's all timelines that we've recorded on the tape, and we've decided how realistic things are or how unrealistic things are. And we start deciding, the time frame. So just allow all of that to fall away for a moment. See if you can exist in this space, this energy that's really you, that doesn't have a timeline on anything, that isn't concerned with when is it going to show up, that isn't concerned with how is it going to show up, that isn't concerned with, checking every day to see if it's there yet. Just be with this energy of you that has already created it. The second you think of it, it's already created, because time is not a factor for this expanded energy that you are. Again, you're having a human experience, and time is a parameter of the human experience you're having. That's great, and we're not trying to get rid of that. But let's just see if you can hang out it for a moment in this space where time does not matter, and where whatever you want to accomplish is already accomplished. Whatever you want to create is already created. See, time is actually quite useful because it allows you to experience the different steps of creation as you want to. Right? As you want to. Creation may not be as exciting for us if we just snapped our fingers and everything was done. Right? Like, human history would not exist the way that we've experienced it through time if we just snapped our fingers and all of human history existed all at the same time, right? So time is a part of the experience. It allows us to have the experience the way that we do. Because the greater energy, the greater consciousness, whatever you want to call it, greater is definitely not the right word, but, you know, the unfocused, ever-present, infinitely abundant energy is everywhere. But you allow yourself to have a localized experience, and an experience that moves chronologically through time. And enjoy that, right? It is there for you to enjoy. Time is there for you to enjoy. Most of us are constantly freaking out about time and thinking we're going to run out of time, and thinking we've wasted so much of our time, and thinking we don't have that much time left. Time is just there for you to enjoy. That's a totally different perspective than you've probably ever really heard before. Because most people, you know, are lamenting the way they've spent their time so far. They wish they had more time. There's never going to be enough time. Time is money. All these different ideas and perspectives. But none of them are about, well, the time is here for you to enjoy. And you don't have to ever judge how you, quote unquote, spent your time. Even the idea that you spend time on things, like it's a currency, like it is finite, like you're going to run out. When you start to disengage from that way of thinking about it, your life is miraculously less stressful. And probably, can't make any guarantees, but probably you don't age as harshly, right? Aging for a lot of us is a resistance to time passing. Aging for a lot of us is a lack of enjoyment of the time passing, right? Often we will notice people who are very energetic into their older age and they're more vibrant. They look younger, they feel younger because they are enjoying the time they're spending a lot more. And you know, I myself, people are constantly commenting on how old I do or do not look all the time, and I think it has a lot to do with my mental state at any given moment, because some days I look and feel 800 years old. And some days I don't. And then people are like, oh, you're looking younger. It's like, well, I'm just not walking around looking like I'm ready to keel over. So, luxuriate in this energy that we call time, right? This flow of energy moving. Because again, it could all just be here now, complete, done. Nothing needs to be added, nothing needs to be removed, and we don't have the experience of anything being added or anything being removed because it's all infinitely here right now. Enjoy and luxuriate in this flow like a river of time. And again, that's probably quite different than when you are being told in your life that you need to move against the flow of time. Like, you know, you have a project at work and they call it a deadline. How serious does that sound? A deadline, right? That's crazy when you think about it, that's the word we've come up with for this ideally is created by this point. It's this needs to be done by this point or you are dead. That's crazy. And that's our associations with things. Like when you have a deadline, you stress out like it's going to kill you if you don't finish it by that point. And it's not, right? Luxuriate in the flow of time, in the passage of time. Understand that it is part of the experience. And it's a great part of the experience. There's nothing wrong with it. Don't resist it anymore. And so when it comes to things you want to create, luxuriate in the flow of time. Don't think about, I want this to be here sooner. Obviously, you're probably habitually going to be thinking, I want this to be here now. And when you're thinking, I want this to be here now, give yourself the gift of rehearsing and recording that it is here now. A lot of different manifestation and metaphysical teachers will tell you, you have to do that or it's not going to show up. And that's not necessarily the case. Otherwise, the whole of human history would not be what it is, because plenty of people who are not metaphysical in any way or interested in manifestation in any way have been able to create things. And some of them may have used visualization or feeling work or any of that stuff, but a lot of them probably did not. They created the way they knew how. So you don't have to rehearse the thing already being created. You don't have to do anything. But if you keep thinking, I want it to be here now, and that's, causing a stirring up within you that is unenjoyable to you, be with that and enjoy that as much as you can. And then also add in, somewhere it is already created. In the infinite expanse of everything, it already exists. And I give myself full permission to enjoy the unfolding. Really just start to enjoy every moment as much as you can. If that was your only concern for the next week, how much can I enjoy every moment as much as I can, regardless of what's showing up and what's not showing up and what the context is and what the situation is? How much can I enjoy every moment for 1 week? By the end of that week, your life would be entirely different. And some people are going to go, that is so not possible. Look, the circumstances could very well be exactly the same. But if right now you don't feel as good as you want to feel, if you're miserable, if you're anxious, if you're depressed, if you're any of that stuff, if you were to enjoy your life as much as you can for 1 week, if by the end of that week you enjoyed your life at all, if you're anything like me in the past, that would be dramatically different. To go from not enjoying your life at all to enjoying your life at all, that's a bigger change than any circumstance is going to give you. Truly, really. Because there are people, and you can tell by looking at them, and you can tell by listening to them speak, and you can just tell by their whole character. There are people who have completely changed their life circumstance. And it is still written all over their face, and written all over their spirit, and written all over their energy, that they do not enjoy life, that they do not enjoy being here on the planet right now. They're looking for the solution in materialism, and there's nothing wrong with that, because materialism is quite captivating. Otherwise, we wouldn't all be here. But you can tell they're not really enjoying it. So, in my opinion, the complete material change of their life doesn't really matter that much, because they're still not happy in a sustaining way, in a way that means something to them. They're still searching, and they're still not finding, and they still don't let themselves be aware that it's with them. And again, I'm sure it sounds like I'm judging people who are going down that pathway of experience, and I don't want to. Every experience is equally valid and equally valuable, right? Nobody's doing any better than you. Nobody's doing any worse than you. They're just having a different experience. And let yourself have a different experience of time. Whatever your relationship to time has been up until now, however you have dealt with time up until now, let yourself experience something different. I'm just not even worried about time. I'm not worried that I've wasted any time. I'm not worried that I'm not where I'm supposed to be in my life by this point, by the age that I am. I'm not worried that tomorrow or next week or next month or next year everything's going to go wrong. I'm just here right now experiencing and enjoying and appreciating the passage, the movement, the flow. That's so different. It almost feels strange. It's so different. But let yourself be with that. Let yourself get clearer and clearer. And again, let your attention drift back to something that you have wanted to create. And however much time you think it has taken to create that, just let that drop away. Create it right now, as you want it to be. And pull any idea you have about the time it has taken or the time it will take, pull it out entirely. You can do that. You have the power to do that. Your power actually extends far beyond time. And you use time as a way of pretending you don't have any power and cheating yourself out of using the power that's really available to you. Because the second you don't activate your power and call on your power and use your power the way you think you're supposed to and in the correct timing, you decide you don't have any. If you need the money tomorrow and it's not there, you decide that you're weak and powerless. Just unhook all that right now. Just wipe all that out. Understand that time is a game you have instituted to see how much power you have, to have the experience of forgetting how powerful you are. Time is really, really capable of making you forget how powerful of a creator you are. It's magic, right? Because you will have these moments where everything lines up perfectly, right place, right time, everything's correct. And you'll go, wow, maybe I actually can create what I want out of this life. And then a week later, you'll have a minor inconvenience, wrong place, wrong time, all this sort of stuff. And you go, oh my God, I can't do it. I was crazy to ever think that I could do this, right? And you look back at the good times in your life and you'll wonder why you're not there. And you'll look back at the bad times and think, I hope I don't ever end up there again. And the whole thing is just holding in mind a way of thinking that is not pleasurable and exciting to you. So just let it pour out of your head. Every time it comes up, let it just pour out of your head. You don't have to keep playing it on a loop. You don't have to keep listening to it. It doesn't have to be so meaningful. It doesn't have to be true. It's not true. And you don't have to fight with it. You don't have to resist it. You don't have to address it. You don't have to dig into it and figure out why you think that. It's very obvious why you think that. Everybody around you, for as long as you can remember, has always thought that. And very few people have questioned it. Very few people have tried to examine it and go, is this real? Is this true? And the few people who have, people have probably called quacks and freaks and weirdos. So it's no wonder that you think the way you do. Everybody thinks the way you do. Let yourself think the way you do, the way you want to, the way that's going to be the most exciting for you. You don't have to think about things the way everybody else has told you to think about things, because they're not creating what you want to experience. There's nothing wrong with what they're creating and what they're experiencing. It's just not what you want. It's totally valid for them, but it's not real for you, and it doesn't have to be. So again, what is it you want to create? And just sense that it's already created. Sense that energy has already taken form. It's already sitting perfectly created, however you think about it, however you envision it, however you picture it. It's already created perfectly. And now ask yourself, whatever this is that I want, how long do I think this is going to take? And then wipe that out. I used to do this exercise daily for about 2 weeks, where I would ask myself, how much money do I think I can make in a day? How much money can I get today? How much money can I have come in today? And at the end of that month, I had made $30,000. Do I still have that $30,000? No. Do I still do that exercise every single day? No. Why? Because like I was explaining earlier, you get to a place where you feel more powerful than you've ever felt. And then you create circumstances that will knock you off base, that will throw you down a spiral, that will... And don't be afraid of that. As I say that, don't go, oh God, I don't want to get more powerful because then I'm going to create things that make me forget. Don't do all that, right? Don't freak out about it. It's a perfectly natural part of creation and exploring your creative faculties. And the less you are afraid of it, the less you are resistant to it, the less you will create it. But really look, how much money can I have today? And see if that number's not small. And definitely smaller than you want it to be. And see if asking that question doesn't bring up a little bit of a gross feeling to you because it's less than you'd like it to be. But just wipe that out. Whatever I want to create, how long is that going to take? Wipe that out. You know, I had somebody call me once because I had signed up for one of these things on Instagram where they tell you they're going to, help you build a business or whatever. And he called me and he's, running me through his whole scam and he's doing his whole thing. And I said, I just got a question for you. Where do you want your business to go? Like, what's your goal? What are you trying to accomplish? And he said, well, we'd like to be at the top of our field in the next 10 years. And I said, can I ask you a question? He goes, yeah, of course, certainly. And I said, why exactly is that going to take 10 years? And he started laughing like I was such a jerk for asking. And he had a very defensive, and I don't blame him because it's really putting somebody on the spot. But I thought this guy wants 5 or 10 grand from me to teach me how to build a business, but the best he can imagine for his business is going to take 10 years. I don't know if I have 10 years. I'm getting old, pal. I'm kidding, but it's like, I think it's a lot more fun to go, how can we crash through the ceiling in less than 1 year? What's the farthest we can get in 1 month? Like what's the maximum speed? And not, you got to be careful with that too, because then if things aren't moving fast enough, you're judging yourself, right? But a lot of us have this timeline of like, what's your 10-year plan? And it's like, whatever you want, why would you wait 10 years to have it? You may not be here 10 years from now. And 10 years from now, you're going to be a completely different person. You might have a completely different target. So, on the one hand, don't try to rush it here, right? Don't get so caught up with it's not here now that you start throwing a tantrum and you go totally out of whack. Don't do that. But also don't go, well, I'm just going to be patient and maybe if we're lucky in 10 years we'll get there. Why? Let it unfold as it wants to unfold. But you have the power not to wait 10 years on it. Come on, right? And again, that's his experience and I don't want to belittle it or judge it. But I don't see the point of operating in that way. So, you can create things quickly. You can ask yourself, how can I create this very quickly? And that can energize you and that can motivate you. Just don't let it stop you up. Don't let it frustrate you if it doesn't happen as quickly as you want it. And if it does frustrate you, turn that frustration into energy you can use, right? The most important thing is however you go about it, you don't hit the brakes on yourself. You don't dam yourself up. You don't twist yourself up into knots going, it's just not happening the way I think it's supposed to happen, right? So one last time, what is it I want to experience? Can I experience that now? And can I enjoy that unfolding in my experience however it does? That is so simple. But do you see when you go with that, how much something is happening? What do I want to experience? Take a real moment to be present with that. What do I want to experience? Can I allow myself to experience that now? You can experience it even if it's not physically here. And experiencing it even when it's not physically here keeps you on track for the next step, which is, can I allow it to unfold in my experience? Those are really the 3 steps, I guess, to creating anything you want to create. It's simple, it is easy. And if you sensed anything, if you felt anything, if you had any idea come to you, if you were totally bored when I was asking those 3 questions and you were just like, this sucks, maybe there's nothing in this for you. Maybe it's just an indicator that you can dig even deeper, right? But if you had any experience when I asked those 3 questions, that's an indicator to you that it's working. So let's try it again one time, and then we'll close out. What do you want to experience? Let that come to you however it does. What do you want to experience? And as I ask you that, you're already experiencing it. It's already coming to you as a picture, as a thought, as a feeling, as some kind of intuitive hit, right? Just me asking you that gives you part of the experience. What is it you want to experience? And then you expand that out into, can I allow myself to experience that right now? Whether I start thinking about it, whether I start seeing it in my head, daydreaming about it, whether I feel something in my body, can I allow myself to experience it right now? And if you're in any way resistant to letting yourself experience it right now, just let that dissolve. Just let that unhook. Just let that evaporate. It is okay if you're resistant. It is okay if you don't feel good at this. You don't feel like you're getting it right. There's no way to get it right. You've got your own way. Can I allow myself to experience whatever it is I want to experience right now? And as that builds, we expand it out even more to, can I allow that to unfold in my experience, however it does? And see if when you get to that 3rd question, if you really felt satisfied with the first 2. When you ask, can I allow it to unfold in my experience, however it does? See if when you say yes to that, if you don't feel like it has started unfolding in your experience. And don't let time, your perception of time, kill that by going, well, I said yes, it's unfolding in my experience, and 15 minutes later, it hasn't shown up in physical reality, so it's dead. Don't cheat yourself. Allow it to unfold as it does. Right? And that, when I say allow it to unfold as it does, that does not mean you don't keep creating, you don't keep modifying the request, you don't keep, chipping away at it however you do, doing whatever you want to do. It doesn't mean any of that. It just means you don't give up on it unless you're ready to give up on it, right? Like if you're bored of what you asked for, don't keep trying to create something that you asked for 10 years ago that's no longer exciting to you. But if it's still exciting to you, if it's still something you want, don't kill it early by going, well, it's not happening because it's not here 2 days after I asked for it. I've had some crazy stuff over the last couple of days where I went, I'm going to experience that. And then the next day I was like, oh, it didn't show up. I guess it's done. And then the next day it showed up really quickly. And it's like, get rid of that timeline in your head of when I make the choice and when it's supposed to show up. Just do away with that entirely. It's not helping you. You can create on a timeline. Don't get me wrong. And if that works for you, do it. But if you find yourself trying to create on a timeline and it is a source of discouragement for you, get rid of it. So guys, I hope that was helpful for you. If it was, please like, subscribe, do all the good stuff. Really helps me out, supports the YouTube channel. If you have anything that you need help with, can't stress it enough, I am here for you. So go ahead and reach out to me in the comments. Anything you want. I don't care what it is. I don't care if you feel silly asking for it. I will be happy to talk about it. So guys, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks so much as always. Love every single one of you. See you soon.